All right, good night, everybody. I am Christ Ham Disciple, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, bottom left. And we're about to talk about Restore the Snyderverse, but specifically about specific things, about letting everyone who will be watching us know that we are, first of all, real people. And second of all, uh, to be focused on what we are really about. You have to be a little bit more focused about what we are about. So if you look at the title of this thing, you'll see that it says Restore the Snyderverse, we are real people, and to keep that focus. So we're going to get into it right now. I am Christ Am Disciple, aka Anson Philp. You can support this channel by donating. The link is in the chat section, as well as you can also join as a guest if you so wish. The link is also in the chat section. Or if you just want to chat with me, that's fine as well. The banner is up. Basically, this is what we're doing. Always starting with a piece of scripture because God comes first. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about some facts again, recap some facts about the Snyderverse versus the rest of the DCEU. We did this before in a stream before, but I'm just going to recap it very quickly. And then after that, we're going to talk about how we can show that we are real people, and I'll give an example. And also what we should be focused on. I'll get back to that, how we can be focused. We'll also talk a little bit about DC News, a couple things in DC News that's happening. And we'll also talk about Rebel Moon. Rebel Moon. So all of that we're going to do tonight so you guys can get used to it. You know what we're going to be talking about tonight. Let's get into it. Therefore, let me start off with a piece of scripture and we go into it. The scripture today is going to be taken from it's going to be taken from the book of John again. So this yesterday's scripture, I don't think I did a stream, but when I was doing boxing, I did a stream. But yesterday's scripture is also from the book of John. This time it comes from the book of John. And it's John chapter 9. It goes like this. Jesus was walking along. He saw a man who had been blind from his birth. His disciples said to him, Teacher, why is this man born blind? Was it a result of his sins or his parents' sins? Jesus said it wasn't because of his sins or his parents' sins. He was born blind so that the power of God could be seen in him. All of us must quickly carry out the task assigned to us by one who sent me. Because there's little time left before the night falls and all work comes to an end. So while I'm here in the world, I am the light of the world. Boom. Let's cut it right there. Okay. So this is John chapter 9, verses 1 to 5. What is this saying? All right. First of all, there's certain things that happen in life that just happen. All right. Not because somebody sinned or their parents sinned or what. Yeah, the world's sinful, but things happen. Okay. So sometimes we try to look for a reason why this thing happened. No, it just happened. Okay. The world's not perfect. Things happen. Right. What Jesus was when they asked him that. Now, in the end, he heals the blind man. But what I'm saying is, a lot of times, sometimes people say, oh, it's because your parents did this or you did this. When you try to find a reason why somebody's shortcomings brought an unfortunate situation or seemingly unfortunate situation on certain people. But sometimes things just happen. All right, let's get into it now. So, like I said before, if you want to jump on as a guest, there is the link. Boom. If you see this stuff on my hands, because today was local elections, so I went and voted. All right, let's go through some facts about the Snyderverse versus the rest of the DCEU. Okay, let's go through that. One second. Turn back up my volume. Cool. So I got another trusty phone here, so we'll just go through that real quick, nice and easy, quick and simple, right? Quick and simple. All right, so when we're looking at the Snyderverse versus, and this is stuff I got from Twitter, somebody compiled it really nice and neat. All right, Snyderverse versus the Snyderverse versus the other areas of the DCEU. Let me see here. Come on now, do it right. Okay. All right, can you see that, people? Is it clear? Please tell me if it's clear. All right, if you look at the first 6 DCEU films, that'll be from Man of Steel to Aquaman. Okay, that raked in $3.4 billion. Okay, Man of Steel raked in 668 million. Batman v Superman 873 million. Wonder Woman 822 million. Suicide Squad 746 million. Justice League, which flopped, 655 million. Aquaman, $1.04 billion. All right, it's very, very lucrative. Say what you want about it, it was very lucrative, even with the flop in it. Now, after that, we had the Hamadaverse, which was Shazam, all the way down to Shazam: Fury of the Gods. All right, even though James Gunn came in at Black Adam and Shazam: Fury of the Gods, you know. So Shazam, it made 63 million. Birds of Prey made 200 million, which was a flop. Wonder Woman 1984 made 169 million, which was a flop. Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad, James Gunn's movie, made 168 million, which was a flop. Black Adam made 395 million, but still flopped. It was better than all the other guys. And then we had Shazam, which was 335 million. It flopped as well. And right now, The Flash is 260, I believe 264, 65 million. It's also flopped. So every single movie after the Snyderverse flopped. All right, that was fact number one. Here's fact number two. I can find it. I don't know if it's on this phone. Maybe I don't have it on this phone. Do I have it? Yes, I have it on this phone. Okay. Fact number two. The only sequel in the DCEU to be successful, that is to make a profit, plus to gross more than the original movie, is in the Snyderverse. And that is Batman v Superman, which is the fifth highest grossing DCEU movie. Sorry, not the fifth highest grossing DCEU movie. Third highest. Nope. Second highest grossing DCEU movie. The highest grossing DCEU movie is the highest grossing DC movie, which is Aquaman. But the highest grossing, it is the second highest grossing DCEU movie. All right. But DC movie, it is the fifth highest grossing DC movie. All right. So here you see Man of Steel, we said 668 million. Batman v Superman, 873 million. They both made a profit. Plus, we had a spin-off movie, which was the Suicide Squad that came after Batman v Superman. For some reason, I have a light glare. All right, there you go. And that grossed in 747. Yes, $747 million. Okay, so all of the movies that came off of Man of Steel made big money, and more money than Man of Steel, by the way. Okay, that's fact number two. Fact number three. So if you look at any other sequel, they made a loss. They didn't do good at all, and they never grossed higher than the first movie. So with Wonder Woman, same thing. With Shazam, the same thing. We're just going through this really quick. It's just a little recap. Okay, Wonder Woman, Shazam. Those are the other guys, and then the Suicide Squad as well. The sequels for it and the spinoff. BOP, Birds of Prey, which was a spinoff, it grossed tremendously less. And then the Suicide Squad was James Gunn's movie. It grows significantly less than that. So it just continuously made less and less and less. It went from 742 million to 205 million to 168 million. So it was just making losses. And why was that happening? Right? Warner Brothers decided to pivot away from the Snyderverse. Okay? Warner Brothers decided to pivot away from the Snyderverse. So as a result of that, we ended up in those sort of situations. Here's another pretty much interesting piece of information here with the Snyderverse. Greg Silverman said this. Greg Silverman said, we lost some money on Gahoo and a fair amount on Sucker Punch, but the rest of Zack Snyder's films were very profitable. Very. All right. Jay Oliver says, you do realize that Zack's films for WB have made $3.1 billion for the studio, right? His last 5 Are we talking directing or producing? There's a big difference, right? So just major points for you guys to just bear in mind as we move forward, right? Okay, there's something else I want to show you guys. Let me get to it real quick here. It should be, yeah. Okay, so I did a poll on Twitter, and I also did a poll here on YouTube. Okay, and the poll asked the question. All the DCU or DCEU flops have a lot in common with which DCEU movie? And you see on top there, the Zack Snyder's Justice League. Then there is Justice League 2017. We got BVS Theatrical, and we got The Dark Knight. Right? 86% of you said Justice League 2017. Okay. 14% of you said Zack Snyder's Justice League. I don't know what y'all were thinking, but whatever. It was 7 votes anyway. And so 86%. Okay, we went onto Twitter. On Twitter now, did the poll. It was 163 votes I got from that poll. The poll right here. And it's the same question. Okay. Now, 81% of you said Justice League 2017. 9% of you said Zack Snyder's Justice League. 6% of you said Batman v Superman Theatrical, and 5% of you said The Dark Knight. Now, I don't know why that even happened, because that makes no sense. The Dark Knight had nothing to do with it. BVS Theatrical had nothing to do with it. Zack Snyder's Justice League is nothing. There's nothing like these films. Remember, these films have to have something in common. You know, a lot in common. But most of you got that right. I on Facebook, it's been a little bit weird though. I'm not gonna lie to you. Now, Belle Reeve is also on YouTube. Shout out to Belle Reeve and her channel. Belle Reeve also did a poll. She said, "Who believes Gal Gadot? Who believes Gal Gadot on the Wonder Woman statement?" And 78% of you believed it, and 22% of you didn't believe it. And that was 41 votes that came for that. So clearly, the people at least who did these polls, the people who actually responded on these polls, understand that one, Gal Gadot wasn't lying when she said that, you know, James Wan, Peter Safran sat her down and said, you know, they're going to do Wonder Woman 3 with her. Clearly, the poll showed that Justice League 2017 has more in common with the flop movies of the DCEU than any other movie that we just mentioned, whether it would be Zack Snyder's Justice League, whether it be BVS, whether it be The Dark Knight. Because, you know, they always say, yeah, this movie is the greatest movie since The Dark Knight. So that I say I'll put The Dark Knight in there. The Dark Knight, of course, being the first comic book movie to break over $1 billion. If you guys don't know that, DC was the first to do that. Now, the thing about it is this. I want you guys to understand something. That these facts that I'm giving you here, and these are facts, because you can see them, right? The data are not the only facts. Here's another interesting fact that I didn't tell you from the last session that I should tell you about this session. And that is that the Snyderverse is not only the only DCEU-led verse that's been successful in bringing forth profitability, but it is also the only universe in which there has been a deep dive into superheroes, into the mythology of the superheroes, to bring forth the truth about the superhero, the truths, what is true about them that can be used in reality. Only the Snyderverse has done that so far. No other comic book universe. The MCU hasn't done that. The MCU has been doing it in a superficial way, like most comic book movies. But a deep dive into why these comic book heroes are so held in reverence and so on, and why the values that they have stand the test of time is what the Snyderverse has done. Okay. Now, last time I gave you 5 points, I gave you this so you can see why it is we want to restore the Snyderverse. Okay, why it is we want to do that. Okay, right. Little current event thing that was going on. We want to talk about the current events. Zachary Levi come out there and he said, you know, that studios are producing a bunch of crap movies, and if the audience doesn't like it, you don't have to purchase it. You know, you should not go and support crap movies. And that's interesting to hear Zachary Levi saying, in light of the fact that Blue Beetle is coming up just now, and we know it's a crap movie. You see, what you have to understand is this. Zachary Levi, probably because he's lost his job and he don't have nothing to do with these people anymore, he's starting to speak the truth on situations. Shout out to whoever's in the comment section. Leroy Khan, hello to you, great live. Shout out to you, Leroy, in the building. If you want to come in here, join us as a guest, and we can chop it up about current events. Zachary Levi said something that's really true, in which finally he said something that makes sense to me. We don't need to finance trash that Hollywood wants to produce and shove down our throats. The studios have been misusing the creatives, particularly they've been misusing the directors, and I don't like what they're doing to the directors. David Ayer has been very vocal, and actually posted up a couple of things on Twitter that are very exciting. You know, talking about, you know, Enchantress and so many other things. How she was an alien and she came from another place and stuff like that. It's very, very interesting. Okay, and of course, we must push for release of the Ayer cut into cinemas. But before we can get there, I'm going to talk to you guys about real people. I love this. Shout out to Captain Salute on Twitter. Captain Salute 1 is his Twitter handle. You guys can check him out.
See what I made, but I was sure it would go away.
He made this video. It's so awesome.
We never, ever
Going away.
we were never going
Away.
we
Where?
never
Going
away. We were never
going away. This whole thing started, and I thought, you know, it's amazing that these guys want to see what I made, but I was sure it would go away, and it didn't.
we never, ever
Going away.
we were never
Never
going
away.
we
Where?
never
Going
away. We were never
going away.
All right.
This whole thing started.
I got another one for you guys. I got another one for you.
It's amazing that these guys want to see what I made, but I was sure.
I'm going to give you another one because what's so awesome about this is real people are showing up. This is not anymore. This is not about, you know, Twitter handle or something. No, no. These are real people. And here it is again. Captain Salute. He did this in response to my tweet concerning people talking about the Snyderverse being dead. You know what I'm saying? Leroy Khan says, Zack Snyder is a legend. By the way, you can come on here, Leroy, anytime you want as a guest. Pop in whenever you're ready, okay? If you don't want to, it's not a problem. So this was a tweet I did, and Captain Salute, he responded. I'm going to just do his response. You guys can check out my tweet on Twitter if you want to. But I think this is just so awesome right here. So I just want you to see this. All right.
ever
Going away.
are
Never
ever
going away.
That's so awesome. So what's so awesome about this is the fans are saying they're never going to stop saying restore the Snyderverse. They're never going to go away. This issue is going to go on and on and on. And I got more stuff for you guys to see what I'm talking about. But first, I love that he didn't just Captain Salute, and shout out to Captain Salute if you ever see this video. Captain Salute, he says this. He says $300 billion gross for Zack Snyder and David Ayer movies. Man of Steel, BVS, Justice League 2017 flop, Suicide Squad 2016. Only, what it says here, only 1.7 gross for the last 7 DC movies. Flash 268 million. He's showing all the breakdown of the DC movies, and then he says, "If you want, I'll add 1 billion for Wonder Woman 84 on TSS COVID excuse, but that's still less." What he's saying is, you guys had something, and you need to bring it back. And he finishes off by saying, "Restore the Snyderverse," and then he's got the video underneath with real people saying we are not going away anytime soon. I want to just talk to you guys about an article that Brad Curran put out there. I'll just get the article. Oh, here he is right there. Yeah, this is Brad Curran's Twitter, by the way, real person. Brad Curran actually writes for Screen Rant, so his articles come up on Screen Rant. And I just want to in light of, holy shit. Wow. In light of what we just said there, oh man. You know, it's just so awesome. So I want to show you guys something here. Hold on a second. Brad Curran wrote just a perfect article. I mean, you couldn't get a better article than this. Hold on a second. Let me just find it. Right. No, this is not it. And this was actually making a big scene. No, that's not it. But oh, you know what? Okay. I'm gonna go on Screen Rant and find that article. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it. Hold on a second. I think it was published 6 days ago, something like that. So this is Brad Curran again. Really cool dude. He's a big Bruce Lee fan. All right, so he did the article on Man of Steel's most controversial twist makes way more sense 10 years later. Brad Curran's the guy that actually did that. And after the article was circulated, he went on top and he said, "And now I'm going to add fuel to the fire, restore the Snyderverse." That's what he said afterwards. he's actually a guy that writes. All right, so check this out here. Oh man, this is it here. This article is, oh man, it's pure fire. You guys can go up online and check it out. I'm not going to read the whole article. The DCU's unmade movie reveals the DCU's unmade movie reveals make the DCU's reboot. Oh, come on. Makes the DCU's reboot confusion even more complicated. And really, what I want to do from this article. So basically, in summary, he's saying that the unfinished, if I can get it there. Oh man, I don't know if you guys can see this, but anyway, the unfinished DCEU. You know what? I'm just gonna read from it. The unfinished Snyderverse continues to complicate DC Studios' plans for the DCU, with ongoing reveals of Snyder's unmade DCU movies keeping the legend alive, and also David Ayer's movies, right? Despite DC Studios heading in a new direction with the DCU, the Snyderverse's legacy remains with the retention of the DCEU actors like Jason Momoa and Gal Gadot in new DCU projects. And of course, The Flash and Harley Quinn and just a whole bunch of them. The Snyderverse's enduring fan interest and the monumental success of Zack Snyder's Justice League make it impossible for DC Studios to completely cut ties with Snyder's original vision. All right, so I'm not going to go into all of that of this article. I'm just going to go to the part because you heard Captain Salute. He was saying we are not going away, right? I want to show you what he actually concluded. Brad Curran. All right, I'm gonna read from here. Despite WB's haphazard abandonment of Snyder's intended DCU plans, a great deal of what he intended for the franchise has been made public. This first began during the release of Zack Snyder's Justice League with a collection of whiteboards detailing Snyder's general outline for Justice League 2 and Justice League 3 being publicly unveiled, though Snyder had made clear these represent the initial conception of his plans, with some degree of modification having subsequently been implemented. Deathstroke's actor Joe Manganiello would also reveal considerable details about Ben Affleck's Batman movie around the release of the Snyder Cut. Over time, the reveals of the Snyderverse have only grown more voluminous. One such example occurred at Snyder's 2023 Full Circle event, in which he would cryptically tease elements of Justice League sequel plans, such as Robin's death at the Joker's hands, while holding back on explicit details because a spoiler for maybe a thing that will never need to be spoiled. But we shall wait and see, don't you think, a little bit? At the same event, screenwriter Chris Terry also teased Snyder's Justice League sequels would involve apocalyptic betrayals and palace intrigue relating to the backstory of Darkseid and his initial attempt to conquer Earth. Details would recently grow after the additional reveals by storyboard artist Jay Oliver, who would describe Affleck's Batman story as beginning from 80 years of Batman storylines. Additionally, Oliver would reveal Snyder's intention for Reverse Flash to be unveiled as the string-pulling villain who would be the catalyst for a Flashpoint-inspired movie that would facilitate the transition from Snyder's DC universe to a new one that WB could build from. The cumulative effect of all these leaks has been much the same as the initial intrigue of the Snyder Cut, with the mystery surrounding it keeping it very much alive. Adding to the Snyderverse's longevity is the fact that James Gunn's DCU plans seemingly do not fall as cleanly into the reboot classification as usually is the case. Rumors have abounded that Jason Momoa will portray Lobo in the DCU, while not a direct connection to his DCEU portrayal of Aquaman. It would still carry a core cast member of Snyder's Justice League into the DCU, inevitably keeping the memory of Momoa's Aquaman role alive by association. A more direct Snyderverse connection to Gunn's DCU has also emerged, with Gal Gadot stating that she's developing the Wonder Woman 3 with DC Studios, which has already been rebuffed, and they said they don't have any plans for her at the moment. While other DCU cast members might also be involved in the DCU, each would inevitably bring with them the same immediate link to the portrayal of other DC characters in another DC universe. Moreover, DC Studios is seemingly already navigating a Snyder Cut type situation of its own, with David Ayer stating that he's been told by Gunn that the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad will have its time to be shared. We don't believe that. While all of this is an anomaly, to say the least, for any film studio or franchise, the history of Snyder's DC tenure plans paints a much clearer picture of why DC cannot cut ties with the Snyderverse. Ordinarily, unrealized movies or franchises do not tend to have the kind of staying power or enduring fan interest as the unmade Snyderverse movies, but ordinary is a term that's completely inapplicable to the Snyderverse. By being completed and released, Zack Snyder's Justice League would defy all odds of film industry precedent, giving the movie a monumental, one-of-a-kind distinction. The movie's cliffhanger ending and Justice League sequel plans would also provide a huge jolt of interest in his story being concluded, to the tune of 1.5 million Restore the Snyderverse tweets in a day right after its release. With periodic reveals and teases of where Snyder intended to take and conclude his story, the Snyderverse has taken on much the same legendary status as the Snyder Cut itself once did. Given the specific circumstances of Snyder's original departure, including heavy allegations of abusive conduct by Joss Whedon during the Justice League reshoots, and WB so hurriedly abandoning his plans, the legend around the Snyderverse only continues to grow. The real problem this presents for DC Studios is that, unlike almost any other prospective reboot, the DC franchise to proceed, the DC franchise to precede the DCU is far from fading away from the topically or fading away topically or relevantly. The truth of the matter is that everything about the Snyderverse's story is seemingly impossible, but nonetheless very real. As a byproduct of WB's panicked decision to retool Justice League and the extensive fallout resulting from it, everything planned but not made in the Snyderverse is more than just a case of what could have been, but a ceaselessly tantalizing relic driving public interest with each new reveal. Whatever plans DC Studios may have for DC on film, they continue to face the exceptionally rare challenge that the legend of Zack Snyder's unmade DCEU movies is one that simply refuses to die. So, and you know why it refuses to die. It's because of us, the fans. We are continuing to keep it alive, and Zack keeps on fueling us, and more people daily are siding with us. You know, the few trolls that you see on Twitter, they're not the majority of us. There is a Blue Beetle battalion, and I wish them the best of luck. But ultimately, in the end, no matter if Blue Beetle is successful, if Blue Beetle flops, which more than likely it will, whether it does or doesn't, it's not going to stop us from saying restore the Snyderverse. It's not going to stop us from continuing to do this. Like Captain Salute said, and the team of people and the cosplayers with Captain Salute, we are not going anywhere. We're going to be here, and we're going to be constantly asking for the Snyderverse. Now, bearing that in mind, what is the next step? So the first thing you guys need to do is keep on doing video streams asking for the Snyderverse, asking for the Snyderverse to be restored. You guys have to keep bombarding them with that. And so the more you do video feeds, whether it's on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, personalize it. Talk about it. Do it in video format. They can't say you're butts. They can't say you're not real people. Personalize it. Let them feel what it is as a person that you are doing. But we have to do it in a coordinated fashion. Everyone needs to do it. If it's a particular day where everyone puts out a video, everyone needs to do it. When we're having Snyder Cons, everybody needs to be there. When we're having a day like we're supposed to have, I believe on the 15th, which is tomorrow, we're supposed to have, we are supposed to tweet, make the Batfleck movie and give examples. Everybody needs to do it, but do it in innovative ways. Do it, let them see your face. Do it in the form of plays, music, stories, little short skits, cosplay, art. Do it that way. Don't just stick to the usual things, the clips and stuff. Now, and stuff. Show them that you're real people. Show them that you are real people. All right, on to the next thing. What should we be focusing on? We should be focusing on AFSP and donating to suicide prevention and any other good causes. We should be focusing on making a difference and persuading people in a positive way to see our passion and understand it. We know that DC's in a very bad place right now. Warner Brothers is digging out their hole, but DC is in a bad place right now. So this is what we need to do. I have been relentlessly on Twitter sharing Zack Snyder's Justice League in IMAX, wanting to get that movie in IMAX and in cinemas this year. I would suggest, it's only a suggestion, that we all coordinate behind that. And because this is a very doable thing, this can be done. I don't care if it's Warner Brothers. I don't care if they collaborate with Netflix. I don't care if it's done through another studio. I don't care. But at the end of the day, I am appealing to Abdi and DeLuca, and you guys can keep on doing, Netflix or whatever. I don't care how you do it. But if you're going to do it through Netflix, just remember Netflix, if you're dealing with cinemas, it's going to be easy. Remember, we're in a strike still. So if you're dealing with cinemas, that's a totally different story. If you're dealing with streaming on streaming services, that's going to be a problem because some people have already canceled their subscription to streaming services in favor of the strike. So you guys have to decide what it is. I specifically think it should be put in IMAX and in cinemas. That's where Zack Snyder wanted to see that movie. I speak to Abdi and DeLuca. I send my messages straight to Warner Brothers Pictures. Okay. So if we're going to focus on something, we should focus on seeing the Snyder Cut into cinemas, the colored version of Snyder Cut. It was early this year in a limited release to a limited audience in IMAX, right? In California. It happened. But now now that that's been successful, let's put it in a global way or in a big way into cinemas. Even if it's a limited release in cinemas. But I would hope they would release it in IMAX at least. Release it in IMAX throughout the world and let us see it in IMAX, okay? And see how it does. I personally think that is the way to go. I know you guys are talking about Make the Backflip movie. I know you guys are talking about the Ayer cut, and that's great. But I think we need to be more coordinated. So priorities. First and foremost, release the Snyder Cut in cinemas and IMAX. 2, release the Ayer cut. That should be the second thing that happens. And then 3, we should have Make the Batfleck movie as a priority, the third priority. But in the ranking order of things that are doable, it should be the Snyder Cut, then it should be the Ayer cut. So once those 2 movies come out, they're gonna make enough money for us to fuel the other things, whether it's the Batfleck movie, which will make money in itself, and then also the sequels to Zack Snyder's work, and then the spin-offs, the Atom movie, that would the Deathstroke movie would be a great movie to see. I can't think of any others because, as I said before, the New Gods movies are absorbed into Justice League 2. So you don't have to worry about a New Gods movie because Justice League 2 handles that. So that's what we're talking about. David Ayer put out a couple of tweets, which really keeps everybody interested and stimulated. This is also great again. Both David Ayer and Zack Snyder are supportive of what is happening in the DCU, particularly with Blue Beetle, and hooray for them. I am not interested in those movies, as you already know. That's not my taste. I don't really care for the MCU. I don't need to see it just because it has a DC logo on it, an MCU movie. I know Blue Beetle is going to be an MCU movie. I'm not interested in it. Just by the way, there is a movie out there that's pretty interesting that you guys might want to check out. It's a racing movie. It's called Gran Turismo. Check it out. I heard it's really good. I'll try and get into the cinema sometime this week and have a look at it. I couldn't see Oppenheimer because Oppenheimer was not playing in cinemas. It played for a short while in my country, and then that was it. And I wasn't able to see it. Rise of the Beast, Transformers Rise of the Beast was still playing in cinemas in my country, but I don't know if it's playing right now. But I would definitely want to go and see Gran Turismo for you guys out there. And then finally, today is the day where we started to see ads on Rebel Moon, some information on Rebel Moon. So you guys check it out. I haven't really fully tapped into the Rebel Moon thing yet, but just bringing it up so you guys can check it out. Also, let's not forget, there should be a Henry Cavill Superman movie, and we should have a Wonder Woman 3 movie. So hopefully, if the Snyderverse, when the Snyderverse is restored, we can get all those things playing out and getting completed. Also, Cyborg movie, we want to see that. Martian Manhunter movie, Atom movie, etc., etc., etc. But those are all down the road, way down the road, if they do happen to come to fruition. All right, So that's basically all I have to say for you guys tonight. But I just wanted to get it focused a bit so you guys could dial in and have some focus on clarity and objectives in what you're doing. Because I see people randomly talking about the Ayer cut. I see people talking about Batfleck movie. I'm like, you guys should be pushing for the Snyder cut to go into cinemas. That's what you first should be talking about. This is a strike. There's a lot of things going on. So focus your attention on certain things, but people are not very focused at all. People are just throwing things out there, but they're not really, nobody's focused. Nobody's pointing people in a direction. So this video is to get you guys focused. So this is what we should be focusing on right now. Put all our energies into that. And then this is the next thing. And yeah, we still talk about Ayer cut. We still talk about make the Batfleck movie, but like we should be doing a campaign on getting Snyder cut into cinemas, not just kind of on and off, on and off and off. We should stick to one thing. So whether you want to put the Batfleck movie or you want to talk about that, you put that with Zack Snyder Justice League in cinemas, ZSJL in IMAX, that kind of thing, and keep it pounding it. All right, I'm gonna catch you guys later. I am Christ, I am disciple. Peace.